What's up, guys? Welcome back to ReviewSpace, and today I'm going to review last night's episode of Monday Night Raw, September 10, 2012. Alright, so the show kicks off with Bret the Hitman Hart, greeted by eager Montreal fans. There was a lot of cheers for him, of course, until CM Punk interrupts, and I saw this coming from miles away. I was like, man, Bret Hart's out here, CM Punk's going to come out. Because the thing is, there's a lot of similarities between them. There's actually quite a lot of things that I find that's just so reminiscent of the old Bret Hart from the, pre-not-attitude era, where he would just go on rants and these very promos that have a lot of, he talked a lot, a lot about respect, and, they have this exchange. It was ultimately promoting the Night of Champions match against John Cena. We got Antonio Cesaro and The Miz going up against Kofi Kingston and rtruth as the first match of the night. Well, the babyfaces win, actually. The tag team champions win via Kofi Kingston's Trouble in Paradise. It was actually a nice counter to Antonio Cesaro. Antonio Cesaro just goes down. Alright. We got a Divas match. Man, this one I didn't even pay too much attention to. We got Eve, Layla, Kaitlyn against Beth, Phoenix, Alicia Fox, and Natalia, I'm sizzling. Yeah, I guess the babyfaces won as well. Yeah, not really. There's not a lot of things I can say about this. Didn't really pay too much attention. Randy Orton against CM Punk. Ultimately, Dolph Ziggler interfered, and he attacked Orton. And then Jerry Lawler stepped in to kind of help out Orton and fight back Dolph Ziggler. And then they turned this into a tag team matchup with, of course, Orton and Lawler teaming up against Dolph Ziggler and CM Punk. Well, the babyfaces won, of course, with, Randy Orton's theme music playing at the end. But something weird kind of happened. I don't know if this happened during the match or in the middle of it, but Jerry Lawler collapsed. And he might have suffered a heart attack or something like that. We didn't find out later until Michael Cole announced it. So that was kind of it's the bad moment of that night. Well, we have Ryback going up against Heath Slater. I'll give you 3 guesses who won this. Oh no, I'll give you 2 guesses. No, I'll give you 1. Yeah, his name is Ryback. Yeah, I do like the way he was announced by Zack Ryder. Ryder was like, "Well, it's not gonna be Ryder, but his name is close enough." Man, love his entrance theme. Feed me more. Feed me more. Very intense. Love it. Love it. Alright. Kane and Daniel Bryan in a tag match against the Prime Time Players. Well, this was for the #1 contendership against the tag team champions. You gotta have a tag match, right? Because it is the Night of Champions, every single belt's being defended. Hey, it's almost kind of forced, but hey, we got an odd couple here. Daniel, Bryan, and Kane go over, which in my opinion is a more interesting tag team than obviously the Primetime Players. Sans frickin' Abraham Washington. I don't know what's gonna happen to these two. I don't know. I mean, man, it's still a shame that they lost their mouthpiece. That necessary manager role, but man, Daniel Bryan and Kane, it's like X-Pac and Kane, I mean, this kind of like little guy and the big monster guy, and there's like this dynamic between them. It's kind of interesting. I like the ending too of the match where Kane chokeslammed Daniel Bryan onto the opponent. I think it might have been that guy who looks like John Cena. Man, I'm forgetting his name already. And then Daniel Bryan was the one who actually pinned him. That was pretty cool. Alright, moving on, we got Alberto Del Rio destroying Tyson Kidd. But the funny thing was, when he was grabbing the microphone, I knew immediately what he was going to say. I envisioned it in my mind. He was going to call him something along the lines of, "You Canadian peasant." Something like that. But the crazy thing was, that's exactly what he said. It was so freaking predictable, and his character was so predictable that those were the exact words, verbatim, what he actually mentions in his little promo. I'm like, oh my god, it's like so cliche. It's like, man, I could be writing for the WWE. It's so easy. Because you get this aristocratic Mexican, they're in Canada, Montreal, of course, and he called a Tyson kid who was somehow on Raw for tonight, you know. I'm assuming Bret Hart had a lot to do with that, and Natalia's appearance as well. But, yeah, so you got Tyson kid against freaking Alberto. He's a Canadian dude, and I knew he was going to call him a Canadian peasant, or something along those lines, and man, it's like so predictable. But anyway, let's keep going. We also have Sheamus going up against David Otunga. Sheamus defeats his opponent, man, via submission. I guess it's because he's not allowed to use the bro kick, and there's a penalty or something. Booker T is gonna strip the title off from Sheamus if he uses the bro kick. So I don't know why. I don't know what the deal with that is. I don't know why it should be banned. I don't really watch enough SmackDown to actually figure that out, but oh well. Alright, we have Rey Mysterio against Cody Rhodes. Miz trying to distract Rey. Rey goes after him. Cody takes advantage, hits his finisher. It looks like Miz was about to attack, totally just maul Rey. But then Cody Rhodes jumps Miz from behind, and then he hits him with his finisher. And then he takes the IC belt, holds it up, and he's like, my baby. And that was kind of cool, this continuity with his character, that this is the guy who brought in that white strap. And it's like, that's kind of cool that maybe he's going to go after that belt again. It's kind of like his defining belt. That's his thing. Alright, now we have the final segment of the night. And this was really cool, actually. This was probably one of the more impressive promos that I've seen this year. We have an in-ring segment with Bret the Hitman Hart and John Cena. Of course, immediately, because we have a smart crowd here, Bret, he goes on, he tries to put over Cena, man. He's like, I see myself in you, John, and I see a lot of Shawn Michaels, the old Shawn Michaels, in CM Punk. This ungrateful little dude. The Montreal crowd was still very, just anti-Cena, booing him, you can't wrestle, oh man, just totally hostile against John Cena. But CM Punk appears, of course he joins the segment, and then he calls himself, he's better than HBK, better than Austin, better than Rock. I love the way he puts himself over, like all these old Attitude stars, these legends. So that was just more heat. I love that he's just able to call out these names and bury them to an extent, but just be seen as it's a very heelish thing to do, but it fits his character, because he is kind of like the shooter, this promo guy, this guy who drops, what do you call it? Pipe bombs or whatever? Sure. So it kind of fits his gimmick. Called himself the best talker, the best technician, staring right into Bret Hart's face. That was kind of cool. Calls himself the best brawler. But here's the more interesting freaking moment in this segment. There was a lot of political overtones in this promo. CM Punk, his Chicago roots was brought up, and then there was this thing with John Cena mentioning you've been champion for a long time, but there's been no change, and you've made all these speeches, but nothing's happened. And it was all these Obama potshots, these Barack Obama anti-Democratic Party slogans. It was so interesting. He talked about how, CM Punk, you used to be the underdog, and now you became an odds-on favorite, Again, more Obama overtones, very political heavy. There was just so many of that going on. Very fascinating. And Cena goes on to accuse of, CM Punk, you stole Hall of Famer stuff, you've got the elbow from Randy Savage and all these things. And then again, it reminds me of Obama using quotes from past presidents and things like that. He would refer to certain past presidents, whether it's, I think he referred to Abraham Lincoln back in the day, and maybe JFK, and there's this kind of likeness to old presidents of the past. And man, just fascinating promo. And then he goes on to talk about how Night of Champions would be the search for a new identity. new identity, as in 2012, the electoral year, you know, it's a voting year. So, you know, you got this whole Mitt Romney, Barack Obama voting thing going on. Oh, man. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but when you really listen to it, it's just so... It's such a Republican in favor of, you know, the conservative Republican Party. It's just so fascinating. Man. So then Cena talks on. He goes out to speak in French, actually. You know, so that was kind of a different twist. That was kind of cool. I don't know how his accent was, but the crowd certainly kind of popped a little bit. Not sure if his accent was more in, like, French... actual French, or more like Quebecois French. I'm not sure. I'm assuming it's more the actual French accent. But anyway, so CM Punk fires back with, "Okay, Cena, you're lowering yourself to their level, to the crowd. You're pandering to the crowd. You're lowering to their status." And then it just got intense. I mean, Cena immediately fires back like, "Enough with this respect crap." And I'm loving this promo at this point. I'm like, yeah, this is so cool, man. This is so intense. And then it just got to a boiling point where Cena was like, "I'm going to kick your ass at Night of Champions." CM Punk tries to hit Bret Hart. And Bret counters him. He blocks him, and then he punches him. CM Punk goes down. He slinks out of the frickin' ring. And Bret Hart's music theme plays, and the whole crowd cheers. It was just a nice little moment. Overall, man, I think this entire night was... It was relatively average, mediocre, up until to the point where they had this promo. I really like this promo. Just listening to it, it's just so political heavy. There's a lot of overtones with against Obama, pro, you know, the other party, you know what I'm saying? It's just kind of cool to hear it. It's just so weird. Anyway, man, that's it for my review. This night was, you know, obviously the tragic thing was the Jerry Lawler stuff. Ryback match, you know, that was kind of cool. It's fun seeing Ryback. I don't know how many people he's beaten, but he's probably gonna give him a streak or something. He's beating jobber after jobber, so... man, you gotta put him in the title picture one of these days. I mean, holy crap, man. Ryback has been beating guys for a while now. Antonio Cesaro has only been... He only debuted in WWE for, like, what, the past couple of months? A month? And he's already the United States Champion. That's insane. He already has a belt. He's got a freaking female companion. He's like a mid-carder without even really having a, you know, a build-up or any kind. But then you have Ryback here, who's been this monster for a while now, and it's like, ugh. Anyway. Yeah. That's it for this episode of The Review Space. Thank y'all for watching. Until next time, ciao.